soon as that Diddy video hit, my response was very quickly, his freedom, it's over. It's everything that Diddy was as an icon, as a impresario, as an influencer, as somebody that meant a different time to people. It's all extinguished with the horror of that video that TMZ released that was combined with, Stugotz, him being defiant about the ways that he denied all of this stuff, just lying through his teeth on, videos that had to be bought to sequester. Cassie Ventura, someone that was not mentioned in his apology, an apology that people thought rang hollow because they're like, you're doing this because you got caught. You're not actually remorseful for the behavior. You're remorseful for having been caught. I had the reaction as soon as I saw that video, the need to say, oh, it's over. His freedom is over. Everything that Diddy used to be is over.
How'd it feel? Because you don't know if it's over, and you proclaim that something is over. And so I'm just wondering how it felt in the moment.
Well, it feels like justice, Stugotz. It feels when injustices come to the forefront that way and are put in the light, and you see that what someone has been pretending to be unravels, and I'm filled with a great deal of sadness, right? You saw that thing that went viral recently where women were asked whether or not in the woods they'd rather confront a man or a bear, and the answer often was a bear, with reasoning along the lines of, well, then it would leave marks and people would believe me. Everything Diddy worked in his favor for us to mythologize that he was a better person than he was. And it made it very hard for Cassie Ventura to come forth. But now we've all seen the video. And it's truly horrifying. It's something I'm going to have to put trigger warnings over everything we're doing here. I'm not going to show the video here because most of you have seen it. And if you want to see it, you can. But Jemele Hill is with us now to help us sort through some of what it is that's here. You can see her and hear her at It's Jemele Hill on YouTube. Let's start there with the trigger warning as we talk about Diddy, Jemele. We're talking about domestic violence caught on camera, along with more allegations of physical and sexual abuse, many of which Diddy continues to deny. What do you make of the events of the weekend? What do you make of the apology sort of video from Diddy?
Well, I remember, Dan, we talked about Diddy not too long ago. And I said then that his career was over. And this is before this video came out, because I just thought the mountain of allegations, and although if people want to put it in the box of being unproven, that's fine. But it was just too much. And there was nothing. And given the nature of the allegations, why would somebody ever want to work with him again? And certainly we've seen a lot of celebrities who have been in his situation forgiven. And even now there are people who think that apology, that crappy, awful apology, was enough, because I couldn't help but notice in the apology, he never apologized to Cassie. And nor did he even address the fact that when her lawsuit first surfaced, he immediately denied everything, called her a liar, and essentially said that this was just about a money grab. And so he created that narrative. So to me, if you're trying to get everybody to believe that you are feeling or that you have dealt with some measure of accountability, that ain't it. Knowing people who have gone to rehab, people in my family who have gone to rehab. My mother has gone to rehab. My father has gone to rehab. One of the first things that they teach you is about making amends and being accountable to the people that you've harmed and being honest and transparent about what you've done. So if he really had gone to therapy, if he really had some level of accountability that he felt like he was exercising, then it wouldn't have taken this many years for him to be honest about what he actually did. And let's just say, okay, maybe he doesn't want to open that Pandora's box. As soon as this lawsuit dropped, it shouldn't have taken a lawsuit and subsequently a video for him to say he was being accountable. So personally, I wish he would have stayed silent because what he offered was worthless. And I felt, a lot of empathy toward not just Cassie, but also a lot of domestic violence victims who I'm sure seeing how this tape went viral, that it triggered something in them. I had a conversation with a friend who said her husband was very triggered by it because he grew up in an abusive household, and seeing that on tape, was awful for him and conjured up some memories. For a lot of people, it reminds me of the reaction when the Ray Rice video happened. A lot of people did not know what domestic violence looks like. And, I think we always seem to arrive at this point. Women allege things, and especially if it's against a famous celebrity of Diddy's stature, or not even as famous as Diddy, but just anybody in the public limelight, people go out of their way to extend a level of the benefit of the doubt to the celebrity, to the powerful person, like they're related to them. Like, you don't know these people. You don't know what Diddy does behind closed doors. You don't know anything about them other than they entertain you. And so I don't know how many times we have to learn that the people that are often in the public eye are not who you think they are.
They are plenty terrible, both videos, Ray Rice and Diddy. But for those who somehow missed the Ray Rice thing, Jemele, the idea of kicking someone a couple of different times in front of an elevator who appears to be incapacitated is a level beyond even where Ray Rice was.
Oh, yeah, because one thing, it's so many things to notice about this video. One, she was trying to leave. Two, I don't know what the situation was in this hotel, but he felt empowered enough that he could run down the hallway of a hotel in a towel and assault this woman. And she's just laying there taking the abuse. And everything about this setup, it was clear that this was something that regularly happens in the dynamic of their relationship. She wasn't fighting back. She was just there, just kind of accepting this horrible thing that was happening to her. And I got to be honest, watching that and seeing that level of rage, it's not lost on me that he could have killed this woman, because we don't know what happened when they got back in the room where the cameras couldn't see, or for that matter, the things that aren't on video. And by the way, very specific language that Diddy used when he said that he apologized for what we saw on the video. Well, what's happening outside of the video is what is most alarming to people, because if you will be willing to do that in a hotel where you know they have cameras everywhere, what are you doing to this woman when there is no one else around?
Let's play the apology for Jemele here, and just to get the visceral reaction, because the apology was something that landed wrong with just about everyone, and just about everyone was wondering what kind of advice he was getting, that he felt the need to do this, that he felt that this would be better than silence.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was f***ed up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
What other thoughts do you have beyond not apologizing directly to Cassie or mentioning her by name?
No apologies to his children. Diddy has twin daughters. He also has a young toddler that's a daughter. And really, it's not that he has to apologize to just merely the women in his life, because he has sons too who are looking at his behavior every day. And God knows what these children have seen. And he has not only publicly humiliated them, he's also left them with probably a level of trauma that, most of us probably can't even possibly fathom. The other thing that sticks out to me about this apology is just the raging narcissism. It's like he made this thing all about himself from the beginning, talking about he was in his darkest place. You think Cassie wasn't in a dark place when you sitting up here pummeling her, like she's not even a human being? I mean, that to me, it was so many things that were so awful about this apology. And I have to think that part of the reason he made it is not only, again, a delusional level of narcissism, but also probably because there's some part of him that thinks that he will be accepted back and welcomed back on some level, into the mainstream. I mean, they're going to be apologists. Even in various comment sections, you see them. There are going to be some people who still have no problem listening to his music. There will probably be some people who have no problem engaging in a business relationship with him. And that is what is just so distasteful about this being his idea of accountability, is that he really thought that he was going to incur some level of sympathy after we'd seen that tape. And there just frankly isn't any, not from me, and I think from the vast majority of people.
Jemele, what's equally disgusting about this is the hotel covering it up. Like, whoever took the money, whoever kept this quiet for this long, like, how do you feel about that, sis?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. That's another aspect of this. Is like, I don't know what hotel this was, but part of me hopes Cassie drops another lawsuit on them as well, because this is not at all what they're supposed to do. They see a violent crime actually committed in their hotel, and he was able to pay them off. But I hope people, and I'm glad you brought this up for another reason, because even now, so many people blame Cassie. Well, she should have pressed charges instead of taking the money. If he was powerful enough to get this tape suppressed, why would they think she would believe in her mind, especially at that stage and even years later, that she had any recourse in terms of getting some level of justice through the criminal justice system? I mean, it's very easy to believe and see why she didn't, because Diddy is a very powerful person. But yeah, that hotel, whoever took the money to suppress that tape, I mean, just a disgusting person. And unfortunately, I think because there have been so many allegations swirling around him, the only reason this tape is coming to light is because whoever took the money to suppress it in the first place, or however this came out, there's no fear of Diddy anymore, because his entire career, persona, reputation is completely obliterated and in shambles. So there's nothing, there's just like, hey, why not? Everybody else is kicking him. So let me get my turn in and maybe even get another payday out of it. So, but yes, definitely that hotel is like, that's just despicable, to see something like that happen, and to, take any kind of payout so that somebody like that wouldn't be brought to justice.
Jemele, I've been fascinated by the start of Caitlin Clark's pro career, and mostly the reaction from the rest of the WNBA. It seems like the other players do not want her to succeed. What do you make of that?
While Luther Campbell and Jeff Teague say everything should be made easier for Caitlin because she's got to have an easier start to the season.
That's what I love about Stu guys. Bring it back to sports, Stu guys. Get us together.
Yep.
I mean, okay, so this is probably the issue lately that is probably pissing me off the most. And this coddling and patting women on the head, and particularly this particular woman, just because one, it's an insult to her. And what this really exposes is a few things. That a lot of people bought the narrative that the WNBA wasn't that good. And because they bought this narrative that has, come to life throughout, years of people denigrating this league, despite the fact that those of us who actually watched it saw that it was really a good product. And the fact that ratings have gone up in the last 4 or 5 years really indicated that people understood that this is a good product. And not only that, these women are the best professional women's basketball players in the world. So it exposed all of the bad narratives that people bought about this league to begin with. Then the second part of this is thinking that the only way the WNBA can be successful is to coddle Caitlin Clark, who you all have seen the competitor that she is. She does not strike me as a woman that wants to be coddled and for things to be made easy. And they're saying things about her and about the players' response to her that they would never say about men in any professional sport. When Magic and Bird came into the league, in 1979, 1980, the NBA finals there on tape delays, the league was suffering a lot of problems. I don't think any of the professionals that they played with, any of the other men said, you know what, because of, Magic and Bird are coming off the most watched NCAA final in history, we need to take it easy on them so we can ensure the growth of our league. It's an asinine idea. And again, this is where coverage and commentary of women's sports have got to grow up, because it wasn't just Luther Campbell and Jeff Teague. Our former colleague, Colin Cowherd, said essentially the same thing, that the league should have had the foresight to give her an easier schedule so that she would look better, and therefore
what is that? What is that more? Is it condescending or patronizing? Like if you had to.
It's the herd.
It's all of them. It's condescending. It's it's patronizing. It is paternalistic. It is all those things. And I was like, this firmly falls in the camp of shit never said about men's sports and male athletes. And, I guess they didn't understand it's 12 teams in the league. I think like 8 of them make the playoffs, which means they wanted her to have an easier schedule. Her team is the easy team on the schedule. Okay, this just is. When you get the number 1 draft pick, you're
true.
A bad team. Okay, and so I think it just exposes the fact they didn't think very much of the other women who played in the league in the first place. And now, and to me, it's this: either you believe Caitlin Clark is good or you don't. And if she's as good and as great and as anointed as a lot of people were trying to make her in women's college basketball, which she absolutely deserved, if she's that level talent, if she's the generational talent that her fans believe she is, then she'll be fine. So either you don't believe she's that good, or you're having to reconcile with the fact that no, she wasn't going to come into the WNBA and drop 40 points a game, that these other women she's playing against, many of them are stronger than her. They're veterans. They just, it's a different level of athleticism and skill that she's facing, but she will adjust. I mean, she has already had a couple of 20-point games. I have no doubt that once she finds her groove, she will be fine, but they have to stop this silly coddling, because it is just so insulting on so many levels, particularly to the professional women who have really put so much sweat equity into making this league grow and getting it to the place of where it is, and just into their own personal careers. They act like women aren't supposed to have personal pride, like they're not supposed to be competitors too. Like, just let Caitlin Clark score, guys, just so the league can take off better. It's like, that's just, it's just a clownish argument to make.
You went viral this weekend, sis. I got to bring it up. You caught the LA Sparks game sitting right next to Kim K herself. What was that like? Was it too much? Was it too little? Talk to us, sis.
Oh, man, it was very entertaining. And I guess in this age of where the WNBA is their popularity is being taken to another level. Now I see how many of my friends actually do watch the WNBA, because I was getting a lot of texts. Certainly people were tweeting about it. But I get to the Sparks game, and by the way, they were playing out in Long Beach. That was kind of, they had made this room. They had made these decisions because they had to sort of factor in the Lakers might still be in the playoffs. Obviously, that didn't turn out to be true. And so they hadn't moved the opener. So they're in a much smaller arena than they're normally used to playing in. And so when I get there, the Sparks informed me that, they're like, yeah, you'll be courtside. And but just so you know, you'll be sitting next to Kim Kardashian in North. I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry. Okay, I've never met Kim Kardashian. I felt kind of bad because I've never seen a single episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Obviously, I know who she is. I mean, she's an international superstar. And never have I felt so homely in my whole life, because Kim Kardashian came in there looking like she just stepped out of a runway. And I looked like I had just finished my shopping at Ralph's, which I think I probably had, but that's okay, right? But we talked during the game. She was very nice, very gracious. And if people haven't seen it, she's got an amazing campaign for her shapewear Skims that involves a lot of WNBA players, Kelsey Plum, Candace Parker, a lot of other notables that are in this ad campaign. And it's really wonderful. It went viral when the campaign came out. And so we talked about that ad, and she has a genuine appreciation, love, respect, and knowledge of the WNBA. We talked about the salaries and different stuff like that and different dynamics. And she was a wonderful seatmate, if you will. And but it was great to see her there to support, because in this new age of WNBA fandom, people have been trying to accuse women of not supporting the WNBA, even though at most WNBA games I go to, the majority of the audience tends to be women. I certainly see some men there, but this idea that women aren't supporting the league, I thought was also a false narrative. But with somebody with her celebrity to get behind this team and to show such open support, I thought it was wonderful. The person I was really jealous of was North, because North got to do everything. She got to toss T-shirts. She got to dance with the Sparks mascot. I mean, North had herself a time, and I was here for it.
It's Jemele Hill on YouTube. It was good to see her righteously pissed off. Just righteously. Just pissed. Jemele, good talking to you. We'll talk to you again. I want to transition, Stugotz, from that to Dan Mullen at a pool party.
What?
Because that's right.
Huh.
Dan Mullen is in Vegas. This is a very Vegas pool party. I believe the best pool parties in America are in Vegas, right? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show.
Not Starkville?
Vegas or Miami. The best pool parties in America at Le Batard Show. What is Dan Mullen doing? Not recruiting.
Not recruiting.
Well, I mean,
taking a video like you'd imagine Greg Cody would at a party, just kind of just like getting the landscape of the whole thing, just like, hey, I'm at a party. Let me take my phone and go in a circle.
He's at an Eric Prydz pool party too, which is like reputed to be one of the better deep house DJs out there. It's just I can't imagine someone that is at that pool party that just knows a little bit about college football and seeing Dan Mullen there, presumably in his visor,
shirtless,
filming the whole thing.
Shirtless.
If you watch it, if you see his like social media, like Dan Mullen isn't exactly who you might think he is. He has other interests. He's a big Wrexham guy. So, but when I initially saw this on my timeline, I thought, God, man, this has to be someone else that has just got a parody Dan Mullen account. I'm not sure who the person that wakes up and decides they're going to have a Dan Mullen parody account. But no, this is actually Dan Mullen, who's just having a hell of a time at the Prydz pool party.
He's 52 years old. You know what the Yemen Mullen stands for? Midlife crisis. I mean, what is he doing?
Damn, it stands for my kind of guy.
It's a Vegas party at a pool party. You're going to shame him
What
for
else are
being...
you going to do in Vegas?
I don't know.
I mean, one thought would be maybe see the Aces play. And if you wanted to see the Aces play, let me tell you, Dan Mullen, if you're out there, what you could have done is you could have downloaded the Game Time app, created an account, and used the code DAN, that is DAN, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Last-minute tickets. I love that. When I'm in a pinch and I realize, the Aces are playing, I check the Game Time app. I see what my seat might look like in that arena. Maybe I'm not that familiar with it. I get a great customer service, a low price guarantee. So thank you so much, Game Time. We appreciate your support. Lowest price guarantee. That is promo code DAN for $20 off your first purchase.
Stugotz, did you see, I don't know whether you were following LSU baseball last year, whether you're following Pirates baseball this year, but there is a mustache that throws 101 miles an hour. It's just all mustache. Paul Skeens started the game yesterday, struck out the first 7 guys because it's all, here's 101, what are you going to do? And the answer is nothing. You're just going to swing and miss. 7 strikeouts to start the game. I think it was 9 out of the first 10 guys have no chance. And it's all coming from behind a giant mustache. What's going on with the mustaches in Major League Baseball?
I noticed that the other day, too.
I think with young people in general.
I've been watching more baseball lately, and there are like some glorious mustaches. Not just like the freshly grown one just for S's and G's, like some really bushy, committed mustaches.
A lot of Minshews, a lot of Striders. It's just a lot of facial hair.
Paul Skeens dating Libby Dunn. I just wonder how all of this hype for him makes baby Gronk feel after he rizzed her up.
We're about to get to Shooter McGavin, Stugotz, because Happy Gilmore is having a remake, and Shooter McGavin, Christopher McDonald, is going to join us. You may see him in Hacks these days. You'd recognize the face, certainly. He's going to join us here in a little bit. But I wanted, before we get
a remake of Happy Gilmore or like a sequel?
A sequel, excuse me.
Yeah.
A sequel.
I'm not ready to say goodbye to those characters.
My fault. So I wanted to get to, before we get to what happened in NASCAR this weekend, Stugotz, I thought this was a curious back and forth that happened on X, where I see the clip for the first time of Michael Phelps breaking down on Meet the Press, talking about his many mental health struggles, and to be great at what it is that he did, Stugotz, being underwater, the maniacal loneliness that requires,
right,
I would imagine to be a mental health challenge for anybody. But Michael Phelps broke down talking about how he and Jay Glazer have similar experiences with ups and downs. And Jay Glazer has been very honest here about panic attacks and just some real dark mood swings where they evidently are sort of like sponsors for each other, where it took Michael Phelps a minute where he was struggling with the idea of whether he should reveal or not that Jay Glazer was his mental health buddy, and then he just did. But Ryan Leaf now comes after Jay Glazer in a way that I found a bit startling by writing, Glazer is a fraud when it comes to anything mental health or wellness related. He uses it for his benefit and really isn't invested in any of it unless it benefits him and his brand. Phelps is an inspiration, but it gives me pause that he muddies his mind with that con man. Now, I don't know what happened between Ryan Leaf and Jay Glazer, but to react that way to Michael Phelps saying that he's got somebody who's a life preserver when he feels like he's drowning, that's a poison that Ryan Leaf has in him that's embedded deep when you can't hear an Olympic champion whose life has publicly been a struggle tell you there are times so despondent that if you've heard Jay Glazer talk about it on this show, you might be startled at the level of vulnerability that goes dark with Jay Glazer, because he seems to be somebody who is deeply wounded at his core and doesn't mind asking for help. For him to be a source of inspiration and help to Michael Phelps and have Ryan Leaf react that way makes me have more questions than I have answers about what the hell happened there that would make anyone feel Jay Glazer is a con man when it comes to mental health, when he's clearly struggling with stuff that he has developed himself a great deal of soothing for himself, that he could talk about it in front of people because he's always been hiding it under whatever it is that he thought masculinity was. Anyways, awkward transition from there.
I thought Mike was going to comment there. I'm sorry.
I thought somebody
something.
was,
Right.
but
No,
I guess
I only
everyone...
turned my microphone on because of the awkward silence.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
But
just
then
trying
I tried to
figure out,
realize,
right.
like, how do I make this about NASCAR?
I'm
and
trying
I
to
quickly
think about-
realized I can't.
Right. Yeah. I was trying to think about where Glazer did Ryan Leaf wrong. Like, I'm just trying
Right,
to
it's
think
probably one of them
about-
Fox
right.
pregame shows.
It had to be.
Truth
something
be
like
told,
that,
I was
yes.
not at all prepared for the gambit. And I had already, like, I told myself, I'm only doing, like, one mental health segment today. So
Right.
it was just like, okay.
The Happy Meal. Yeah.
Met the quota.
The Happy Meal. That's correct. We did 4 minutes on the Happy Meal, and that was Mike's quota for the day. And so no one else.
I mean, they both have public personas, and I think Jay Glazer has really bought a lot with the audience, where Ryan Leaf has struggled plenty in the public. That seems like a personal beef there. I don't know what's going on there. Speaking of personal beef, Stan, I don't know if you watched the NASCAR All-Star race last night. I did. I watched it with the sound on, which is one of the first times I've done that this season. Because I'm super into NASCAR right now. It percolated a little bit with me, like during lockdown and stuff, because I was just fiending for sports. And now I finally get it. I got it. I see the light. This is a great motorsport. I'm in on it. And I know that NASCAR fights, people sometimes question the authenticity. It goes along with the sport. It's not bad for the sport. This race, the All-Star race, number one, very confusing. There's an open beforehand, and then there's like an All-Star race that's an exhibition. Doesn't count for points, but $1 million is on the line.
Don't get caught in the weeds. Keep it going. Get to the fight.
I am. You interrupted me.
How do you make the All-Star game?
Stop interrupting me.
Weird.
Let him
right?
talk.
Also,
There's
everyone
points.
makes
I'm
it.
not gonna. That's gonna be super confusing. Logano leads like all the laps but one, gets $1 million. But in the first lap, Ricky Stenhouse gets pushed into the wall by Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch, he DNFs. He goes into pit lane, and he decides after that moment that he's going to park in Kyle Busch's pit box and have a word with the crew chief. Now, the NASCAR commentary team pointed out that Stenhouse is kind of locked in here until the race finishes because there's no bridge outside. So he's just spending 2 hours stewing. He had changed out of his tracksuit into some shorts, and he decided, you know what? I'm going to get me some. I've had 2 hours to concentrate on this. He had other interviews where he said someone may have to hold my watch. So he goes right up to Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is an agitator, and a lot of people have an issue with Kyle Busch in the NASCAR circuit, and he punches him in the face. He punches him in the face, and a brawl ensues. And part of the brawl, you see that Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s dad gets punched in the face by Kyle Busch. Then there's an absolute unit of a track dude. This dude in a tracksuit cleans house, and nobody wants that. This dude's a total unit. But here's a great angle. At first, I was like, it's a fake punch. But this angle shows you that Ricky Stenhouse was feeling feisty, and he connects with, like, the temple. He got a good shot in on Kyle Busch, and it was a pretty good brawl. And I love that NASCAR is just like, I don't know if any fines will result of this. I don't know that much about the sport, but this was pretty much covered like it's a regular occurrence.
We've all been there waiting 2 hours to punch somebody, and the rage doesn't subside.
Yeah, can we show the unit one more time?
Giant guy?
Can we show the one dude that was like, I don't care if this is staged or not.
Right.
Black and green tracksuit guy cleaned house, and nobody wanted any of that smoke. That giant unit of a man.
Everybody has wanted to do this to Kyle Busch for a while, including this show.
Here's big unit coming in. Yeah, he's coming in hot. That's Ricky Stenhouse Sr. fighting with Kyle Busch. Ricky Stenhouse Sr. got clocked by Kyle Busch. Here comes our unit.
Yes, he's just clearing people out.
Nobody. Whoa, that is strength. And he's got the high ground, too. So everybody, he says clear out of the way. People clear out of the way. But this was a great moment, and there's so many great camera angles of this. Kyle Busch was followed by journalists, and there's actually beautiful cinematography for iPhone cameras. There's one shot where Kyle just approaches, but there's a great still from all this. There's a couple great stills. If we can fire up the still image of Kyle Busch approaching Ricky Stenhouse, who is there waiting for him, casually with an arm up on the truck, ready to fight. Can I get that one image, please? And what's so cool about this is you got the ghost of the Intimidator hanging over his shoulder. You got the three, the immortal three right behind Ricky Stenhouse. That is a memeable photo. That is a great photo. Shorts were a bad choice if you want to look tough for Ricky Stenhouse. But yeah, NASCAR is here. I think it's having a moment, and that's totally internalized because I'm just a NASCAR fan now. But if you want something cool that isn't a fight, and many of you don't, many of you, your affinity for NASCAR begins and ends with the NASCAR pit fight. I get that. It's not for everybody. But something unprecedented is happening Memorial Day weekend, this coming weekend. Kyle Larson, who I told you, it's not my take. What made me get really into this was Marty Smith. Marty Smith telling me that Kyle Larson's the best driver on the planet, and that includes Max Verstappen. But what Kyle Larson did over the weekend was kind of prove Marty Smith right. Kyle Larson flew into this All-Star race. He flew in from Indianapolis. Why? Because he was busy qualifying for the Indianapolis 500, and not just qualifying, like barely getting in. We've seen Tony Stewart do this before. We've seen Kurt Busch do this before. Kurt Busch, I don't know how many times he even raced IndyCar, but he had like a 25th place finish. What Kyle Larson did was, as a rookie, he qualified 5th overall for the Indy 500. That's not what he drives. He is a NASCAR driver. In his first shot, he qualifies top 5. And what he's going to do this holiday weekend is something special. He is looking to be the first driver since Tony Stewart way back when to complete every mile of this double. He is racing the Indy 500, and he's racing a NASCAR race in Charlotte the very same day. Wow. And Kyle Larson actually has a shot, and this would be a mind-blowing achievement if he does it in his debut at Indy to win it. But can you imagine if Kyle Larson strolls into that motorsport and wins its most prestigious race?
Chris Cody, do you have some sound of Kyle Busch hanging up on our show? What was the most memorable brother fight that you guys had? You guys had to have good brother fights, no?
Oh, yeah. There was definitely times where, it came down to maybe a little throwing match or screaming match, whatever. But really can't remember the exact subject it might have been over. So all in all, it's just no different than any other brothers, I'd say.
But, Kyle, you're always fighting.
I am.
You're not?
Not that I know of.
You haven't fought with a bunch of people like Kevin Harvick and that old guy that you fought, Childress?
Yeah, all right. Well, just keep bringing them up. Who else you got?
Well, okay. No, that's my list. But it's a lot with Harvick. It's right. It's not one or two with Harvick. It's a lot with Harvick. No?
I don't know.
All right, Kyle, good talking to you. We're done here. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
He got the dealer clap.
Oh, the old landline.
Patented.
Stugotz has for us his top 5 classic NASCAR last names. But just real quick, I want to see that one angle again. When the punch connects, does spittle come out of the mouth of Kyle Busch? You guys tell me if there's spittle anywhere here.
Oh, wow.
A lot.
It seemed like that knocked the spit out of his mouth is what it looked like.
Did he have a drink in his hand? Was that all from his mouth?
It looked
Play it
like,
again. We need to play it again.
It looked like it was spittle. Stugotz, let's do your top 5 classic NASCAR last names. Any OLIs here?
Yeah, I have 4. Yep.
Oh, it's a water. There's a water bottle in his hand.
It's a water bottle.
4 OLIs?
Yes.
Juju just whispered, "Where are the fathers?"
He got punched. I couldn't get my joke in because y'all talk so goddamn much. Jesus.
It's amazing.
You're just finna give him a joke. Salute. I love you, Mike.
Jarrett.
He needs the fanfare, Chris. Keep up.
Allison. Bush. Wallace. Number 5. Unser. Number 4. Earnhardt.
Just keep it.
Number 3. Yarborough.
Number 2.
Petty.
Number 1.
Waltrip.
Hey, what's up, Shooter?
Well, I'm hanging in there. This Zoom stuff is really exciting.
Oh, it is so nice to see you. Do you know, I know that you do this for everybody.
He addressed him as Shooter.
I know. It's Christopher McDonald, and he's done a lot of other things, although I don't know if people connect with him as much as they do with the asshole Shooter McGavin. You played the so well. I mean, in fact, it's rarely been played better than you. And I'm guessing that this reaction you're getting from us, you get all the time. People who are just delighted to see your face.
Well, delighted is interesting. They love to hate the Shooter. I don't know why. I seem like a nice guy, but the character was so damn much fun to play. And working opposite Sandler and having so many great actors in that show. I can't walk down the street without people just going, shoot. I don't even know if they know my name. They just go, shooter, and they throw the guns up. It's pretty funny.
Can you explain to us what the connection is, how it resonates, why it resonates? Because have you had another role that feels like that one where it connects with an entire generation?
No, I'd have to say Happy Gilmore is the one that has been standing out. It's crazy. I've been Jerks before. Been Jerks in Thelma and Louise, but she had to go over the cliff rather than come back to me. That wasn't good. So I knew I had to go out there a little bit. But this was just so much fun with sports talk and, and all the great lines they wrote and we ad-libbed. It was just, it resonates and people love the Sandmans. So everyone's watching this thing. I think they just threw it back on after I made a little faux pas and said, there might be a 2 coming around. Then they stuck it on Netflix and it was like the #1 show for a long time. So that was great.
Do you understand?
Even though I was 28 years old.
Do you understand the connection? Like, can you articulate to us how it is that a moment you had no idea that was going to connect there with so many people, did you?
No idea. No one ever knows, I think, in a movie. You take your odds, you take your shots at it, and then you get test audiences and stuff. And I remember people enjoying it a whole lot when I went to the premiere 28 years ago at Universal. It was very well received, but you never know. No one really laughed at the Shooter so much, but they laughed at me for many, many years after.
What would you say is your breakout role? Is it Thelma and Louise?
Yeah, well, Thelma and Louise was, that was a game changer in a lot of ways. It blew the doors open for a lot of really cool directors to work with. And such a great story, and it was never done before, and so many people turned it down in the business of show because they thought two broads, bankrupt. I don't know. I don't think no. And so Ridley Scott, God love him, had the vision and just made it sound so great to the ladies and to the cast, and one of the greatest directors I've ever worked with, because he is your champion throughout, and that is a gift for an actor. He just says, "You do you, man. You go and do it." And if he has any notes for it, he will give it to you. But he just sat back and and laughed a lot at what I was doing. So it's pretty funny.
I should tell the people he was nominated for an Emmy for his role as Marty on HBO's Hacks. It's very funny. It's in season 3, Thursday nights on Max. And last week's episode of Hacks was a golf episode. It aired the night after Netflix announced that a sequel to Happy Gilmore was in the works. Do you guys have for me the video of Christopher McDonald in a back and forth? I don't know what most people want to talk to him about or repeat to him, although he said, they just say shooter. But let's have the back and forth. He was just such a great, pompous, rich country club golfer. He had the hair for it, the sweater, perfectly cast. No one else could play the role of shooter. Here's a back and forth with Adam Sandler.
Big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of for breakfast?
No.
How much of this was ad-libbed? How much?
I use that once a week, by the way.
How much was scripted and how much was ad-libbed?
Everything was scripted up to the point where I said, no. They left it in, which I thought was quite funny, because Shooter had no comebacks at that time. He got better later on in the whole stuff. Quit fraternizing with the help. Gilmore, just hit your ball if you can find it. Hey, Grandma. Stuff like that. Just too much fun to do.
Were you around for the Bob Barker scene? Were you in the presence of the Price is Right host when he fought Adam Sandler?
That scene right there is arguably one of the most memorable. I was around. I was making a deal up on the hill with the great late actor, and we had such a fun time, and I stuck around to watch him do it. And the great thing about Bob Barker, God love him too, it was the fact that he said, "I'll do it, but I'd like to do my own my own stunts. I'm a bit of a pugilist." And he was like, like this guy weird. Okay, Bob. And he did it, and it was so funny. And then, The Price is Wrong and all that stuff is just classic.
All scripted, or Barker, did he ad-lib any of it? Did he throw in a bitch here and there that wasn't in the script?
I think they added a bitch at the end. Price is Wrong, and he walks away and comes back, bitch.
On Friday, you posted a pantheon of golfer mugshots.
I'm not sure that's his Twitter account.
No, I would actually like to ask, what are your thoughts on the parody account that has actually kind of helped the legend of Shooter McGavin grow? And I assume a lot of people assume, just like Sugats did, that you run admin on that account?
You don't?
That's a good question, and I just ran into him recently. I went to Cleveland. That's where I spilled the beans on the number 2 happening. All I did was see the front page, but anyway. Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's very funny, but I asked him to leave this stuff out, so I have to call him and say, really? But, 87 gajillion thousand views, so he's joined the club. He's a funny guy. He gets, it helps him out, helps his family out. They get, back, and I talk to him from time to time and say, hey, let's do this, or let's do that, and he just takes it and runs with it. He's a pretty funny guy, so I'm all for it.
What can you tell us that people do not know about the shooting of Happy Gilmore? Any of the behind-the-scenes stuff? You had no idea. It could have felt at times like you were making a really movie, right? It can be hard, this line between what it is you guys actually achieved, and sometimes that stuff swings and misses, and you have no idea whether it's actually going to work.
Yeah, I think it was mostly a joyous experience. There was a little ad-libbing and a little barb throwing and things like that. And first of all, I had no idea why they call him Shooter. And I thought, I know, I'll get off the tee. I thought, no, that's stupid. That's what Gilmore does. He hits it like a monster. I know, I'll pull the guns out and I'll make this thing when I make putts or stuff like that. And that's what stuck. And I did ask Dennis Dugan, our great director, to say, I said, Dennis, I know we're losing light and everything, but please let me make this putt. Don't let it roll into the ball, roll into the cup. Let me put it in the hole, put it in one shot. And he said, all right, McDonald, I'll give you 5 tries. And I think that was try number 5, because it lipped out. And it was on a botanical garden, because no self-respecting golf club is going to let you, drop a tower on their greens. So we just basically we did that, and it went in, and then I just added like crazy. I went, you didn't shoot that, baby. It was just too much funny. I did throw my putter too. I don't know. It could have hit somebody and hurt somebody, but I was just in the zone, and then I think I threw it over their head. Thank God.
Because the finger guns were so perfect at just giving off just total condescending arrogance. What were the rejected things that you went to in the mirror before you chose the finger guns? Because I can't imagine anything coming close to the finger guns.
No, I just think if there wasn't much of a other choice. It was basically the finger guns or high sign. I don't know. The fingers thing was shooter all the way, and just to do that and pop it out each time and like that is just too funny. There are bobbleheads made of the arms going up and down like this now.
Who is the strangest or most unusual powerful person who has wanted to talk to you about that role where you've been taken aback?
The strangest, most powerful person, Rich Eisen. He's pretty powerful. I love him. He and Sandler are good mates too. We just we kind of dropped the idea that it might be happening. But this is many years later. I guess it's got to be in the. I don't even know anything about the script, to be honest. So, is it the senior tour? Is it the Ryder Cup? I don't know what they're doing, but Tim Hurley and Adam are working at it. So we'll see what happens soon. But Rich Eisen Adam said, McDonald dropped the ball. What's up? He goes, how could you think you could trust shooter? Come on, really? So, but it wasn't my fault. That's all I'm saying.
Stugotz was disappointed.
Rich Eisen, there has to be someone bigger.
He wanted someone better than Rich Eisen. Stugotz was palpably disappointed by that.
I'm better than Rich Eisen.
Come on.
I was just saying it. I mean,
come on.
Football podcast of the year, 3 years in a row.
What details of the plot can be?
That's awesome.
Thank you very much. You know what? No one else is happy for me around here except for you. I like you, man.
You lost the last year.
What details of the next Happy Gilmore script of the plot can you share with us? Anything?
This much.
Okay.
0. They tell me nothing. They know I spilled the beans a little early, so they keep it away from me. I can't wait to read it, to be honest. Like I say, they're working at it right now, and I know that Tim Hurley was down at the PGA. Oh my God, what is that? Was that great golf or what?
Amazing. Yes.
Great theater, great golf.
It took my breath away. Shot after shot after shot. These guys are monster hitters and insane putters. It was just, if you didn't like golf after watching that, you don't like the game of golf. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you wanted to make your own putt, so it was clear that you liked golf before you got into Happy Gilmore. But since then, it seems like you have such a deep passion for the sport, and that's where I'm sure the access to a lot of powerful people has come in, because they all love that movie too. And you've just been. It's almost as if you're considered a real golfer in golfer circles. It's odd.
It is odd. It is the most wonderful and frustrating and mind-blowing and exciting game. I've played a lot of sports in my day, but I didn't get into golf until later on in my early 20s. So it's a game I love to play. I mostly do it for charities. It's great. We raise a lot of money for St. Jude's with our friend Patrick Warburton. We helping kids out that are having a hard time in life. It's nothing better than to get together and do it for a great cause and raise a lot of money to save those things. But for the most part, it's just I get new clubs. I've got I hate carrying my clubs because the original clubs were stolen off of a plane. I couldn't say, where's my clubs? They're not here. Oh man. So I got really bummed about that. And then Wilson's is so nice enough to send me another set. And then now I play with PXGs and I have Callaways up in the mountain. It's good. It's good stuff.
How underwhelming is your actual golf game for people?
What a question. People ask me, you really golf shooter? And I go, I can play.
I bet you're good. I bet you're good, and I bet you don't want to brag now, but I would love to make you our golf correspondent. If you just want to analyze what happened this weekend, the genuine passion, the radiance that emanated from you talking about golf, please, the stage is yours. Tell us everything that you loved about this weekend that included the world's #1 golfer being arrested before a round and doing a stretching in jail.
Yes, how insane was that? I love the guy. He's fantastic. I was rooting for a lot of people in that. JT had some insane shots. He was like he chipped out of I think 3 or 4 times he chipped out of the sand. Unbelievable golf, and put it in. Anyway, so the whole shuffling thing was terrible. I'm sure he'd like to relive that. But he had his own. I could see where he was going. It was kind of a shooter move to go right by the cops, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was to drag the cops. It's a total shooter
cop.
move.
That was yeah. But I'm sure he'll live it down. He just it was just one of those moments where I got to get. So anyway, I don't want to get in trouble here, but I love the guy. I love the top 5, 6 players that just came in. How about the Irishman that comes in and just starts killing it on day 3?
Shane Lowry,
from a bygone
Lowry's
era.
unbelievable. He's 25 years old or something. Like just boom, 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 and then putting it like crazy. I was just most impressed. That was magical. I sat there and I watched it, going, "Oh my God. This is the most insane golf." And I got to say, my boy is Rory. I wanted him to get up there a little higher. He got really close. I think it was 11th the last time I saw him. And it's hard. The game is hard. That's all there is to it. It takes a lot of luck, a lot of good little hops, a lot of good breaks. And we saw the whole gamut of that in this U.S. Open. It was just brilliant. Brilliant golf.
Before we let you go here, and I will remind the people, Hack Season 3 is streaming on Max now. The interactions that you have had with professional golfers that come to mind when you think of them wanting to interact with you because your character has become something of a golf icon?
Yeah, I actually do some work with some of them. I work with the PGA Tour 2K, and Colin Morikawa is a friend, and he's just a great guy. And man, did he have a round. Well, he had 4 rounds that were amazing. Mr. Finau was an amazing guy. He get up to the tee, and I was announcing at the tee that time. It was a Houston Open, and just one of the great guys. And he starts to do his lineup, and on the tee, this Finau, and then he comes out and does the whole Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore dance where he's going to go up and smack it. It was so funny. Crowd loved it. We just have a lot of fun together, and they're just great normal guys. And of course, Tiger, I got to interview him. I got to go down to Medalist at his home course, and one of the nicest guys in the world. We had a blast together, and it's thanks to the company PGA Tour 2K. Is they're just killing it, and I love to be a part of it. So I just got that thing done where you stand around and get all your things, so they're adding me to the game so you can play a shooter. Oh my God.
Those names, by the way, all bigger than Rich Eisen.
Christopher, it is good. It is good seeing you. Thank you. And just last question on your way out the door. How soon into filming did Sandler choose that as his golf swing off the tee? Was that immediate? Was the whole movie built around just that?
You saw his very first scene when he knocks the neighbor off? Yeah, that was day one. So he knew what he was doing. He based it on a friend, I think, from high school, who was a great hockey player. I mean, a terrible hockey player, but a great stick as far as could whack the ball. And that's how the whole Happy Gilmore character came along. So he was working on it for a long time, and he's very good at it. He actually really can send it out there. So that's when he challenged me back in the day. And I said, putting for the dough, which was really funny. That went kind of crazy viral too.
Are you in with being our golf correspondent? Because an Irishman who's putting very well is perfect. That's what we need. Okay?
That is what we need.
Yes.
We do need that kind of expertise after all the majors.
There's no truth to the rumor that you're actually going to play in one of the matches, right? Because that was a hot little internet rumor for a while that you'd be paired with a PGA pro and Sandler would be paired with a PGA pro for charity.
Yeah, I heard that it was going to happen, but I just think it's a lot of, so I don't know. I know sometimes that stuff just shows up and people are like, yeah, I'm going to play with Mickelson and he's going to play with Tiger, and it's on. Not so much.
Christopher, good seeing you. Thank you for making the time, sir. We appreciate your work.
Thanks for having me. It's a joy to be here. Keep on keeping on, boys.
Thank you, sir.
Shooter.
If you want to just hang around, if you just want to linger around our show, just wander over whenever you want.
I'm going to start the whole thing over again. Thank you, guys. Again, appreciate you.
See you later.
Golf correspondent.
See you later. I can't. We can't.
Whoa!
Do
At the end there, jeez.
can't do better.
Like
than
his
that.
laptop closing, he was taking us on a trip there. I didn't know where we were going.
He lingered for a long time, and I was happy to have him. Were you
He
guys?
just didn't know what he was doing.
That's correct. Would you guys? Did you guys get as made happy by that as I was?
Yes.
Just I don't know. Stugatz was asking and didn't want to.
Whoa.
No. He wanted to bring it up tomorrow for Cody, but I'm going to bring it up now. You were just talking about he does a lot of other roles. I can't associate him though with a close second place on that role.
Yeah, I'm okay with you announcing what it is I told you. I'm just not certain he knows how to get out of Zoom, so we might still be there in some way, shape, or form.
It's a one-character Hall of Famer is what Stugatz was saying,
Yes.
where you can associate somebody with other roles. I love him in Hacks. I do. I've enjoyed the first 2 seasons of Hacks. Mike Schur was involved with that, and it's a very good show on Max. But I only associate him with Shooter. I can't see anybody else, and I'm not sure how many movies are like that. I would assume comedies are better at producing that kind of character than anybody and than any of the genres, and specifically, I would say, the asshole, the 90s asshole, or the 80s asshole. Just somebody who are the most memorable assholes in the history of film.
Comedy? Bradley Cooper made a really nice career for himself after playing an asshole in Wedding Crashers.
And whoever the guy who played Biff, asshole.
Yeah,
Yes.
nice little career too. Like, I guess key to being an asshole is like a sweater around your shoulders.
Yes.
Is this
how much of an asshole does that make you?
Stan Gabriel, Revenge of the Nerds. Ted McKinley.
But aren't we
Yes.
playing, you think of this person as that one role? Because Bradley Cooper, I think of other roles now. Well, he did get his start with that jerk role.
Yeah,
What
no,
about Stifler, Sean William Scott?
That's an excellent nominee. I'd go a different sort of character.
Role models file.
Jeremy Piven's Entourage agent character is a different kind of asshole, not the same kind of asshole we're talking about, which is like kind of the universal high school asshole.
And a great comparison, because Christopher McDonald's had a great career, illustrious, a ton of roles. Jeremy Piven, a ton of roles, a ton of memorable roles, but the one role is just so head and shoulders what he's associated with.
He made that show. That show wasn't that good. That character, based on a real Hollywood agent, over-the-top asshole.
It was very
made
much
that
of a
show.
time. I've done like occasional. I see clips pop up on my timeline, and I
It
see
can't
like an
hold up.
episode. I'm like, wow! I used
cringe.
to be like Sunday nights. I used to be about this.
Hey,
So
Ralph,
bad.
Ralph Fiennes, whoever plays Voldemort, asshole forever.
Oh, the best.
He had a Ray Fiennes. Okay, the English patient would like a word. Ray Fiennes is not in this discussion.
He is a thespian. I don't believe that
Schindler's List. Like, he's known for a lot.
Shooter McGavin, I maybe he'd be insulted by this. I don't mean it as an insult.
would be.
A thespian? Like, he's a good actor. He's indisputably a good actor. But this one role, and Adam Sandler movies in general, don't give off thespian, even though I would say that Adam Sandler is a good actor. I would absolutely say that. And I don't think, I think most people would treat him as a punchline, but I can't watch Punch Drunk Love, which is a legitimately great movie, and see him as anything other than a great actor. Juju, what did we get right today? What did we get wrong? What did we not cover enough?
Totally different when I'm here. The guy who played Home Alone, the big brother in Home Alone, he's an asshole as well.
Yep.
Also the stepbrother. I think we did a great job. We didn't necessarily cover too much of Luka and the heroicism that it takes for that team to get past the Thunder, but I think we did a phenomenal job. We got to the NASCAR a bit late, though. That was a little late if you ask me, but supreme job by us.
Supreme job. Why is it different when you're in person and everyone's around? Do I need to kick everyone out of the room so we can speak more honestly?
As a matter of fact, we did have the biggest flub. Speaking of flubber, Shooter McGavin, that was a great movie by him as well.
Okay.
Happy birthday to Christopher
Oh,
Jeffrey.
hey. Hold on a second.
To him.
Yeah.
I don't care. Good
Good luck.
Man, he had some kind of face on when you started with the flubber mention.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, damn it. It was funny, though.
Monday birthdays, huh?
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
Overrated. You celebrated yesterday, though. Let's be honest, we all celebrated on Friday.
What age? What
Sucky
age
ass
birthday?
Bruins.
The worst. I would argue that I am celebrating. If we ranked the first 100 birthdays of one's life, I would argue 37 has got to be bottom 5 birthday, just in terms of relevance.
Do you want to rank them 1 to 100?
I'll do that for tomorrow. I'll rank all 100
Excellent.
birthdays.
No, actually, I'm going to give you a second, and you're going to do it now.
Oh, okay.
43 is better than 37?
Yes, just top 10 worst birthdays. Top 10 worst birthdays. And I've got to castigate Stugotz on something.
What?
And the group. And it's an omission by Juju in what's supposed to be a correction segment. An atrocity that the Andrettis didn't make
Oh my
your
God.
list of top 5 names in racing, or OLIs, that the Andrettis didn't make anything in the top 9 for you.
I did say NASCAR. They're more Indy drivers, so but I'm upset about it, and I will be upset about it the entire day.
How do the Andrettis as a family and
right.
just a
You're
funny
right.
name
Yep.
not get into your top racing last names of all time?
It's a bad job by me.
An egregious omission. Chris,
Age 8 is really not efficient.
not great.
No.
Not great birthday. So you guys think 37? I think 37 is it's not a great birthday because it's just a random number, but I think I'd long to be 37. I remember that as I remember that as a greater
Long to be
time
47.
than
I have the top 5 worst. No, not worst. Just top 5 useless birthdays that you don't have any use for.
Okay. Any OLIs, or we're going straight to
No, we'll just go number 5. Number 5, 22. It's like the year after the big one. It's just
Right.
like, what is this?
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
Trying to repeat, right?
Number 4, 33.
These are too young. These are great years. What are you talking
No, because once you get into the 50s and 60s, you're kind of celebrating. Like, you're just happy.
No,
Oh, my
you're
God,
not.
I made it.
No, you're not.
Dan and I are yearning for
you're
her
not.
33rd birthday.
No, you're not. I talked to somebody the other day and forgot whether I was 55 or 56.
That happens to me.
Wow, first time?
That happens to me.
Number 3, 37. Number 2, 56, actually, Dan. And number 1, the most useless birthday, 11.
I think we can all agree on
That's a
that.
big one.
For sure.
That's a big one.
Useless.
Nobody answered my question on which duo you want more.